Well, good morning, and thank you for joining me once again, musician on a motorbike. Now, in today's video, I have less to present to you a fait accompli of a solution I have found, or some newfound wisdom, but more a problem that I have been facing. Some of you may have faced this problem in the past, some of you may face it in the future. And that problem is simply this. My bike has been spending more time gathering dust than mud splashes of late. Yeah, it's spent more time in the garage with spiders weaving webs around its spokes rather than flies being found having hit the headlight very hard. Yeah, what I mean is that I just haven't been out on it much, and it's been getting less and less used as time has gone on. Now, I don't not love riding anymore, don't get me wrong. Well, actually, that's maybe part of the problem. Let me try and explain. So, life's just got busy. We've got a grandchild, we've got another grandchild on the way soon. We've had family nearby that have needed support. We've had other family moving. We've had other members of the family getting married. We've gone overseas. We've been utilising our camper van a little, although not as much as we wanted, because life just gets busy. You know how it is. And the busier it gets, the less I get to enjoy one of my pleasures, and that is motorcycling. Now, under normal circumstances, one might say, that's okay. It's fine, it's paid for, it's in the garage, just use it when you can. But today, we are on the penultimate Wednesday of May, and when we hit June, this lovely motorbike, Sankora of mine, is going to rack up some £600 in costs for things that I haven't actually got any reason to purchase other than they're just needed. So, for example, the road fund license for a bike over 600cc is £125. Last year, my fully comp insurance for pleasure only, no commuting, was £240. And because it's still in the warranty, this motorbike I get serviced at the dealer. I think if I was to go to a court of law, I don't think there would be enough evidence to convict me of being guilty of being mechanical in any way. So I kind of leave it to the professionals. So, yeah, £240 insurance, £240 service. And by the way, I haven't had this year's quote yet, and I haven't really had a proper quote for the service, but the valves need doing, so I'm guessing at those. The £125 I know. So it's a bit of a wake-up call for something that sits in the garage, not being used, and suddenly I've got £600 to spend. That is the problem. Now, there are a number of ways to view this problem. Some of you are probably saying, oh, don't worry about it. It's only £50 a month. You won't notice it. And if I loved it and used it a lot, I'd say, yeah, it's worth it. But the camper van that we've had that a year now, and the insurance, the service I recently had, and the road fund license tax on that's about £1,000 to £1,300 with all of those things combined. And there's all these little things in life that just add up lots of money. And I'm trying to be efficient, I'm trying to be fair, I'm trying to do the right thing. So, what am I going to do about it? So that's the problem. As I see it, I have three options. Option one is to say, this has been a fantastic season. I've absolutely loved the bike. Since 2022, when I got back in after a few decades break, the passion, the joy, the love, the fun has been just tremendous. And so I could just simply say, thank you very much, but that's the end of the season, and it's done. Sell it, which the dealer has said there's a few options there that they might be able to help with. Obviously, there's private sale, and just say thank you very much and move on. Now, the risk of that is that could be a road to regret. The second option is still sell it, but change it for a smaller bike. And, you know, I've been looking at the J-Series platforms, which The tax is something like £59 a year versus the 125 on the 600 plus cc. The insurance on my Meteor 350 was £90 a year fully comp versus the £240 a year I paid for this. And maintenance, well, I know I alluded earlier to saying that I am not really a mechanic, but I can do things like clean the chain, maintain that, check the tyres, and do the oil, which I think is annually. I could even do it twice or whatever. Not very expensive, not overly complicated. I'd still need to go to the dealer for things like valves and tyres and maybe chain replacement, but the opportunity there is to reduce the cost. The primary reason I have it serviced at the dealer is, aside from lack of mechanical deals, is simply that the warranty is obviously quite important to me. And the third option is, of course, just keep it. So those are my three options. Now, in terms of selling it, will I regret that? Do I actually enjoy it? Am I missing something? As anybody who's followed my videos will know, I'm a bit of a kind of a loner when it comes to motorcycling. I kind of often prefer to ride on my own. But having spoken to some guys recently in the group, they suggested that maybe you're missing out on some fun. So this Thursday, I'm actually going out for a long ride with a group of other riders from our local Royal Enfield European club, the Berkshire wing, and we're heading down to the Haynes Museum, Motorcycle Museum, or the Haynes Mechanical Museum. I can't remember what it's called exactly, but it's quite a long ride, and it should be fun to catch up with the guys. So that'll give me a chance to just try again. Am I missing something? Will I enjoy just riding and being out with people? And the second thing I'm doing, which is where I'm heading right now, is I'm going to test ride a couple of bikes. I mentioned the J Series platform. Well, I'm actually going to test ride this morning a classic 350. Now, anyone who knows me knows I know the J Series platform quite well, having owned a Meteor 350 for 3 years. But I have been spoilt with the power of this classic 650. So, is it still what I thought it was? Does it still scratch that itch that I have? Is it still as pleasurable? Well, we'll find out. And then I kind of asked myself the question, well, if you wanted something that was lighter, smaller, but still had a bit of power, what bike meets that description? Well, I came up with the Guerrilla 450. And so, as well as the classic 350, I'm also going to be trying out the Guerrilla 450 today. Which might surprise some of you, because I did mention in an earlier video that it was the one I least gelled with. But you know what? Maybe my needs then were different from what they are now. So let's just see what happens. So here we are. We're arriving at good old Hatfields of Crowthorne, who are happily helping me with my test ride. And yeah, I'll report back later from the saddle. I will share in this video both of those reviews. Right. Let's get inside and see what's what. Well, here we are. Hatfields have very kindly loaned me this classic 350. It's is it Jodhpur blue? I'm not sure, but it's a newer one. I actually quite like the red that they did, the Madras red, which looked quite nice. Hatfields had one of those a while ago, and they actually put a black saddle on it. But yeah, you can compare that with the classic 650. Just a smaller, tidier little unit. Right, let's see. Oh, that's a lovely sound, that single. Oh, that is music to my ears. Let's just check the mirrors. Now, just to be clear, this is not the first time I've ridden a classic 350, sorry. I am familiar with the J Series, but it's really a reminder. If I was to have something sitting in the garage that was cheaper to sit there gathering dust, would I be happy with the J Series? Right, we've got a bit of traffic to get out to here, so I'll spare you the traffic jam, and I'll join you back on the road in a moment. Do you know, I'm just literally just a few yards out the dealer, and my goodness, forget the power, just so silky smooth. That gearbox is lovely as well. I don't know if the camera's the mic's picking that up, but that sound, just beautiful. Oh, that's lovely. Now I'd like to open it up, but obviously I've just driven it out of the dealer and it's still cold, and I would treat every bike like I treat my own, so I'm just gonna let it warm up for a bit. Of course, with the newer Classic 350s, you have the gear indicator, which you didn't have on the older one, the ones that I rode. Now I'm doing 50. Obviously I didn't push it hard, I eased up to that, but the bike doesn't feel like it's struggling at all. Very happy, and the truth is I spend a lot of my time at this speed anyway. The brakes aren't quite stopping as quick as my 650. I don't know if that's the size of the discs or just they're not bedded in as well. I mean, it stopped, obviously, that's a problem, but I can certainly feel a difference there. Just lovely, just glides. So many people say how they love the J Series platform. Not least amongst them is myself, from my Meteor 350 days. I don't know quite what I expected, having been absent from one for so long, but just glorious. I'm doing 40 down this road. It's a 50 limit, there's no cars behind me, I'm not holding anything up. Can't explain or put it into words. I'll try and get close, but it's just this effortless glide, and the bike doesn't feel that heavy below me. I know weight is a relative thing, and we talk about weight. I used to kind of think, what are people talking about? You know, weight doesn't really matter, it's all about balance. But the older I get, the more I appreciate that weight does have a bearing on the enjoyment of a ride, and it can affect how the bike performs. Obviously the distribution of that weight matters, but this Classic 350 it's just beautiful. There's nothing I can say about this bike that hasn't already been said. It's been covered lots, and there's lots of owners who regularly ride them. Some don't even talk, they just ride them and take you along for the ride and go camping. And really a review on this bike is about 3 years out of date, because you know, they've been around a while now. But here I am with reasons I explained earlier in the video. I'm considering potentially a cheaper ride that I feel less guilty about if it sits in the garage, not doing much. But yes, just lovely. Don't you just love those singles? Be careful, it's 68 miles. The tyres normally need about 50 miles to bed in. I'm sure they're okay. I'm so used to throwing bikes around bends. I'm gently opening it up, but nothing too much, and it's just, oh, divine, divine. I mean, if you want to give something the old beans, this probably isn't the bike, but I can't. I keep saying I can't. It's hard to express the joy that this is. It feels so smooth, so smooth. I wonder if it's a bit smoother than my 650 actually. You know, it's been a few years since I rode the Classic 350. I remember having one on a long ride, and I've forgotten how glorious it is. I haven't ridden my Meteor 350, a Meteor 350, not mine. I haven't ridden mine at all, but I haven't ridden a Meteor 350 since I got rid of mine, so curious. What I find these days is most roads are 30 miles an hour like this one, 40 miles an hour back there. I think you saw I hit a 50. That was the fastest road. If you go to West London, which I do sometimes, and I know some of you classic riders might think, why would you ever want to go to London? Well, I used to live there, so for me it's a childhood nostalgia visit. And London is mostly 20 miles an hour now, nearly everywhere. So you can't actually really do anything above what this bike is capable of. It's funny how you forget. You think you know, and if someone had asked me, what's the Classic 350 like this morning before I got on this, I'd have said, yeah, it's a lovely bike, beautiful bike, you'll be very happy. But I'd forgotten just how beautiful and lovely it really is. It just feels smooth, the gear change is lovely. You know, if I was being a little bit pinicky, the brakes aren't quite where I perhaps have got used to on my Classic 650, but it's 68 miles in, so they're probably still bedding in. I mean, you guys are the experts, not me, or some of you. You know, it might be a bedding in, but it could be an adjustment. And I can certainly feel that the suspension is a little firmer. But then again, I did say this to people, and I'm almost not listening to my own advice now. You know, this is a brand new bike. I mean, 68 miles in. It took about 2,000 miles for my Meteor 350 suspension to bed in properly. Well, look, I haven't had to open up, you know, and go jet blasting down this road because I'm already at the speed limit, which is 40 down here. And, you know, I can feel the single thump. It's just the thump in the handlebars. That and I don't know, there's something lovely about it. I don't get that on mine. Mine's, you get a different vibration, but because it's a twin, but the single thump, you feel it. So it's a sensation that you feel in different ways. There's a rhythm to the ride. A silky smoothness, character in the thump. I'm in fourth. It's not, I wouldn't call it labouring, but it didn't feel like it was really in the gear it needed to be, but I opened it and it just pulled away, no problem. And you don't need any more than this. You really don't. I'm saying that. I'm going on the Guerrilla 450 next. I don't go under that truck. I thought you weren't going to stop then. I don't know how the camera looked at that, but yeah, the Guerrilla 450 will probably turn me into an 80s hooligan. Not that all hooligans lived in the 80s, it's just that's what it reminds me of, that era of motorcycle. I'll probably love that for different reasons, but we'll see when we get on it. But lovely, lovely. Lovely to see the sun out. Well, I'm coming to the end of my ride now, and I have to say how absolutely delightful that was. That was a real pleasure. It's just a lovely, lovely ride. Almost a shame it's over, but I've achieved what I set out to achieve, which was to figure out if it might be for me. And I think it's fair to say there's nobody that wouldn't be happy with a bike like this.